morning, friends. It is way too early. We are on our way to a brand new national park and I'm so excited. So we're waking up super early. We want to see some wildlife today. So we want to get there for sunrise, hopefully see some really awesome wildlife, and I'm so excited to take you guys along with in the Smoky Mountains. Alright, so we have made it inside the park. We are currently on the Cades Cove loop, which is one of the most popular scenic 11-mile loop that has lots of different pit stops along the way. So we're at our first pit stop. It is a John Oliver cabin, and then it's a little trail to the cabin, so we're gonna go check it out. We made it to the John Oliver cabin. Let's go take a peek inside. So we made it inside the cabin. Wow, it is tiny. There's a little fireplace over here. A little cellar. But basically a one-room cabin. There's even an upstairs.
Hey. Somebody else their clothes.
You can't actually go up there. There's like a little gatey thing, but how interesting. Kind of scary. It is 200 years old after all. So the John Oliver cabin was built in the 1820s. So it's about 200 years old, and it is the oldest cabin here in the Cades Cove loop. So weird how like it's still so preserved. So cool. Alright, we have made it to our next stop, Abrams Falls, which is a 2.5, it says kind of difficult hike, but I don't think it's going to really be that difficult, but we'll find out. And our hope is to see some bears. We saw a little glimpse of a little one earlier, so our hope is that we get to see some a little bit closer, and maybe his face, because he was like climbing a tree, so fingers crossed. Amy, you want to see some?
I'm sorry, what?
You want to see some bears?
Yes.
That's the goal. So we just came up to the most difficult part, or just completed the most difficult part of the trail. It wasn't even hard. I mean, we only have gone like maybe half a mile so far, so maybe the more difficult part is just the length of the trail, but so far, the elevation, not difficult. You guys, we have finally made it to Abrams Falls. Can you hear it? It is straight ahead of me right now. So here we are, we made it to the falls. Amy. Hi. So we made it to the falls. It was honestly a really nice hike. There was some inclines, there was like 2 major inclines and pretty steady. So we're just gonna sit and enjoy the waterfall for a little bit before we head back. Alright, so we have made it back to the car. We left the waterfall. It started to get kind of crowded and busy, so we just left, booked it back to the car. So now we're just going to have a little banana snack, and we're going to finish Cades Cove loop, and then on to the next place. We just saw some bears, so we just got out of the car and we're gonna go try and see them. We spotted some cubs. Where? We have arrived at a place called Elkmont Ghost Town, or what used to be called Daisy Town, which was kind of like a summer resort area refuge from the city, but has since been abandoned. And I feel like there are a lot of people talk about this area.
No, I've never really heard about it.
Yeah.
Even when you like look to see what to do here in the Smoky Mountains, this doesn't ever really pop up.
Yeah.
So definitely a hidden gem.
Yeah, so we're gonna take a peek. It looks like you can't enter some homes, but you can enter others. So let's go poke our heads inside. That was super interesting. Some of them were really nicely renovated, and some felt a lot more rickety than I would have liked to have gone in. But there's really only 3 that they're still renovating that you can't go in. But it's kind of a fun little stop, break up the nature scene a little bit. So not far from the ghost town, there's this little river trail, and there should be like a little hidden gem along this trail. So we're gonna try and find it because you have to veer a little bit off of the trail. Let's say we find it. Hope we find it.
We'll see.
So we think we may have found it. It seems a little weird. There's a tree log there, but this looks promising. We're like traipsing through the woods. I know, but there's like, I've not found it yet, but our impression is that it's close off of the trail. So we haven't walked far, but we're definitely walking in the woods. found it after like
So much easier.
traipsing through a few trails. We found it. But this is the trail you should be going down. It's kind of, not kind of, it is a lot wider.
And it's an actual trail. Like,
it's like
there's nothing blocking it.
No, there's nothing blocking it, and it's actually wide. It's not just like a beaten down path.
Yeah.
But you guys, this is why we're here. It's a little troll bridge. It's like super tiny and super cute, super precious, but we found it. We have made it to our last stop for the night. We are at the Newport Gap Overlook, and which is actually a really cool spot because it is the border of North Carolina and Tennessee. So we of course had to take some photos of being in two states at one time. So check these out, these are fun. But I'm gonna say goodnight. We are coming back to the park tomorrow morning to do some of the things that we missed and see some cool areas of the park. So I'm gonna say goodnight here, and I will see you guys tomorrow morning. Good morning, guys. It is day 2 here in the Smoky Mountain National Park. We are at Clingmans Dome, which is a super popular half-mile hike observation tower thing that we're going to do. Apparently it's kind of intense, a paved high incline, so we're going to see how it is and then explore more parts of the park today. So let's go check it out. It is definitely an incline.
No kidding.
I have a bit of a migraine today, so I'm moving very slowly, but it's inclined the whole entire way. It's like 6,600 elevation, so it's up there. But we have less than a quarter mile left to go, so we're almost there. We made it up the incline to the Clingmans Dome observation. Now we just have to climb to get up there. We made it! So Clingmans Dome Peak is actually the tallest peak here in the Smoky Mountains. It is 6,000 feet above sea level, and you get 360 views of the entire park. So cool. Another cool thing about this peak is that it actually borders on North Carolina and Tennessee. So you get to be in two states at one time. Super fun. Another thing about this little observation tower is that it was built in the 60s, and before that it was actually a wooden tower. So fun to see those views from the tallest peak in the park, but now we are going to head back in the car and possibly do a waterfall hike. Guys, the next waterfall we are seeing here in the Smoky Mountains is called Laurel Falls. This one is going to be a lot more of an easier hike than yesterday's. It is a 2.6 out and back trail to the waterfall, which means only 1.3 to the waterfall. So it's going to be like a skip. Yep. So we're going to head over there. It's supposed to be easy, so it'll be good for the legs. We have made it halfway to Laurel Falls, and we are almost at 300 elevation, so you almost gain all of your elevation in the first half of the trail, which is pretty nice. It is uphill, or it is steady, but it is uphill, so I'm a little out of breath, but so far it hasn't been too crazy. Laurel Falls. It's very busy. It's actually a really nice waterfall. There's also a lower waterfalls too, which people kind of like rock scramble to get down into this nice little pool. We will not be doing that today. It looks quite scary, but I really wish I could take a dip in the water because it looks so refreshing. Time here at the waterfall, but it's very crowded, so we're gonna head back to the car. We are nearing the end of our time here in Smoky Mountains Park, but there's one more thing that we are trying to find, and I really didn't see a ton of videos on how to get there without taking the Twin Creek Trail, because the creek trail is kind of long. It's like 3 miles, is it?
Yeah, I don't know.
So I found one video and there was kind of vague, like turn down by Bubblegum Shrimp and take this road for like 2 miles. So we found it, and there's a sign that says Fairy House right there. So we're gonna follow this trail. It looks like it's pretty easy to find and see the old spring house of the Voorhees estate. Ready?
Let's do it!
So all you have to do is follow the trail behind the main house and come behind the house, and you'll come along this fence and a little greenhouse type. It's a greenhouse. But all you have to do is really just follow this fence. I think till we get to, oh yeah, I can see it from here. And we were only walking for like 30 seconds. But yeah, you just follow this fence all the way to the little creek here. We found it. You can kind of see it. No, we can. There it is. Let's get closer. And we found it! We were literally walking for 2 minutes because there's the fairy house and like there's the greenhouse and the parking lot. So easiest thing to find. Shortest thing that we've seen the whole entire trip. So the fairy house is actually the little spring house for the Voorhees Estate Resort area, and it's cool that the spring is still running to this day. Alright you guys, that is going to wrap up our time here in the Great Smokey Mountains National Park. We had such an awesome time exploring some hidden gems and of course a lot more popular areas here in the park, and it is one of the most visited parks in our country, and I think it definitely, you can see why. Beautiful mountainscapes, super fun hidden gems like this, because the area, people did live here in the park in the 1800s, so it's really interesting to see that these buildings are still in place. But we are still continuing on our Tennessee adventure, so if you want to see what we get up to next, don't forget to hit subscribe, and I will see you guys there. Bye! Oh, y'all, this is Shaky Ridge. You don't suck. Huh? You don't suck. We made it. Looks like I have a big sombrero. But there's another trail right there. There's another entrance to the trail right here. It's pretty wide.